Number 15. Look, WTF, I found laying in the forest today. In 2012, an anonymous poster uploaded a photo of a grenade on 4chan, asking the obvious question, is it dangerous? A number of smartass users joked, nah, just pull the pin, while others were more serious about the matter, like one helpful anonymous commenter who responded, military often drill the bottom out for practice grenades. I think fuse is still inside, just the cap is off. Could be super dangerous now. See if you can see the powder. The OP did not heed the potential warning, however, instead opting to pull the pin, as other commenters suggested, but it didn't explode. Basically, the whole top broke off, he said. I left it there for a few minutes, but nothing is happening. He then asked for further suggestions. One user suggested to smash it with a hammer. Another proposed to throw it into a fire in the forest. The OP microwaved it instead, then tried burning it in a fire, to no effect. The last post from OP was a photo of his car tire on top of the grenade. He tried to run it over, then he disappeared from the thread. What happened to him? Did the grenade end his life? It's a mystery. Number 14. Chris Harper Mercer. On October 1st, 2015, 26-year-old Chris Harper Mercer rampaged through the Umpqua Community College campus in Oregon, where he was enrolled, and took the lives of 8 students and an assistant professor. Then he turned the gun towards himself and took his own life. Sadly, this could have all been prevented, as Chris Harper Mercer posted his plans on 4chan. Some of you guys are all right. Don't go to school tomorrow if you are in the Northwest, he posted cryptically. He continued by predicting his plans. Happening thread will be posted tomorrow. He signed off. So long, space robots. As users started to inquire about what his cryptic message meant, the OP posted, "We'll post again in AM, 10-minute countdown, won't say more, too much to prepare." Instead of reporting the mysterious post, others began to taunt him, calling him pathetic and daring him to do it. He's said to have had long-term mental health issues. At this time, he was on academic probation at Umpqua, as his grades had fallen below a C average. Was this post on 4chan a last-ditched attempt at getting talked off the ledge, or was it just another sadistic game he was playing? Number 13. The Bunker. An anonymous poster wrote about a bunker or bomb shelter that his paranoid grandfather, who was a World War II vet, had built on his land. He was fearful of a nuclear war with the communists, according to the OP. In the post, the OP explores this mysterious bunker, with commenters egging him on. The OP said that he had high hopes with entering the bunker, but only found a makeshift toilet and old rusted garbage. That is, until he found a heavy padlocked door. He busted the padlock and forced the door open. Inside the room, he found creepy carvings, faces in the rock. He described them as a bunch of ghostly faces staring you down. When he looked below the carvings, he found a bone, a human bone, with a pounding heart. He spun around and spotted more bones, protruding from the concrete, as though human remains had been dumped in a batch of quick-dry cement. He heard laughter coming from a corner of the room. This is when he bolted, like the devil was chasing him. The OP didn't post about the event again, leading many to wonder if this bomb shelter was discovered to be a sacrificial altar or something even more mysterious. Number 12. The Ogre in the Basement. One day on 4chan, an anonymous poster started an innocent enough thread, one that would build to epic and hilarious proportions. "Aw yeah, just got back from the Costco to get my copy of Fury Road," he said. "Anyone else picked it up?" Along with this message, he uploaded a photo of his hand holding the Mad Max DVD. This is where things got weird. "That goblin hand. WTF, man?" Another anonymous user responded. Soon everyone with normal non-goblin hands came rolling into the forum to uncover the mystery of why the OP's hand was goblin green. "Are you an ogre?" another user asked. The background in the pic led others to believe he lives below ground. "Giant rubber hand," one user said. The OP wasn't having any of this riffraff. "There's nothing wrong with my hands," he replied. "Stop talking about them." It got weirder and more mysterious from there. The OP began posting pictures of his living quarters. In one pic, there were multiple laptops, stacked one over the other. He claimed he couldn't afford a laptop, but whenever the people upstairs bought a new computer, they gave him their old one. This led one user to crack, "The people upstairs, your owners." The teasing led the OP to ask if everyone could please get back to the original topic at hand, which only made everyone raffle and reply, "At hand." For some reason, the OP continued to upload photos of his home. In response to where he goes to the bathroom, he replied, "I'm not an animal, you asshole. I use a bucket." Although the mystery at hand may seem like one involving whether the OP was a real-life troll living under a bridge, Most started to wonder whether he was simply your average, everyday internet troll. His responses and photos in the thread seemed to indicate he was. At the end, he posted an image of what looked to be an underground tunnel, alongside the caption, "Also, I'm expanding the basement a little of my own accord. It's just kinda cramped down here, so I'm in the process of digging it out. They said it was okay upstairs after they heard me digging." One anonymous user seemed to finally be keyed up to the trolling. "Well, the troll has had his fun," Anonymous wrote. "Now stop pretending you all think this is real." Why though? Why? Number 11. Liquid injection. A user appeared on the 4chan scene in 2012 to pose an idea that was both mysterious and creepy. Posting a photo of a syringe full of neon fluorescent blue liquid, he wrote, "37 decides where this is injected, no limits." He claimed he was high on Class A drugs and wanted people to tell him where on his body to inject this potentially dangerous liquid. Others questioned if it was a real request, so the OP, original poster, offered up a timestamp to verify the legitimacy of his photograph. At last, he took up the suggestion by one user that he inject the glowing liquid into his wrist. The OP uploaded photos of the injection to the thread, with the needle deep in his wrist and the words "veins glowing" beside it. His veins were indeed glowing, leaving many to wonder what the heck the substance was and what it might do in the OP's body. After the liquid worked its way through the user's system, he failed to respond anymore on the thread, and nothing more was heard from him on the forum. This has led many to wonder whether he passed away from this mystery liquid. While some claim the liquid was a dye whose fluorescent nature is activated by UV light, others believed it was just a liquid from a glow stick. Some thought the OP was a prankster and the thread was entirely photoshopped, while truthers tend to think the mystery injection caused him to go into cardiac arrest. The reality of the event remains a mystery, and as long as the OP stays mum, it's unlikely any Redditors will solve the case of the glowing injection. Number 10. Someone is following me. 4 years ago, a user by the name of Parthomp posted a claim that someone had placed a GPS tracker on his vehicle. "I noticed that one of my shocks on my car was making a lot of noise, and my car was riding hard," he said. "So I just figured that I had blown it. When I crawled up under my car, I found this. I can only assume it's a GPS tracker, held on with a large magnet. Now, what should I do?" What ensued was a Reddit investigation, the likes of which the internet has never seen. After much back and forth about whether the user was a target of government spying, an illicit target of some kind, or simply the partner of a jealous ex, one serious Redditor by the name of Omek clarified what type of GPS tracker it was. This is a civilian purchasable GPS tracking device called a Sleuthgear GPS tracker. They cost anywhere between $400 and $800, depending on where you buy them, and are very accurate on their location pinpointing. He also claimed that law enforcement and the FBI use a different, sturdier model with a longer battery life. So having ruled out the government, this amateur detective's focus turned to the civilian population. My guess, crazy ex, stalker, etc. You need to ask some questions and make sure you stay safe. Parthomp jokingly posted in response, "Maybe I'll remove the GPS from the waterproof casing and leave a ransom note. If you want your GPS to live, replace this note with $250 in unmarked bills, and I'll put the GPS back. No questions asked." As more and more users pushed the OP about whether he had a crazy partner who wanted to track his every move, Parthomp admitted he did. He also admitted that a month prior, he'd wanted to attend the birthday of a close friend who just so happened to be a girl. His crazy girlfriend didn't like that. He told his girlfriend that he wouldn't go until that fateful day arrived. "When the time came up, I thought, screw this, I'm going," the OP said. "So I did, and all night my girlfriend called and called. I think it was around 45 or more times. When I finally talked to her, she mysteriously knew more than she could have, but never told me how. Well, I think we know how. Mystery solved." Number 9. The Stalker. Have you ever wished someone loved you to the point of obsession? When you read the Silmarillion, you'll rethink that wish. This mysterious and creepy 97-page document, composed by a 4chan user called The Archiver, is a sample of just how disturbing stalking can become. The devil is in the details, as they say. And the document, which contains artworks, poems, and intense and extensive note-keeping, is as detailed as they come. The target of the stalking, 4chan user UTV. In June 2013, the Archiver started to follow UTV's threads on the SP or sports board and comment on everything UTV said with great enthusiasm. UTV responded with a whole lot of cussing. That's when the fantasy began. In the film Marlion, the archiver archives UTV site activity, writes about their fantasy future together, produces sonnets and collages surrounding UTV's posts, imagining what their apartment would look like, and even writes up an obituary and funeral plans for the stalker's beloved. In one of the creepiest sonnets of all time, the archiver writes, "How can I explain my deep-seated love for UTV? I could compare him to an Aston Villa goal, but unlike a Villa goal, UTV enlightens me. I want him with me always like a benign mole. It's no Shakespeare, but kudos for rhyming goal with mole." You might think that this is where the stalking ends, but no, it got even creepier. The archiver wanted UTV's personal info, so he or she started the Bait Club, which included the UTV Archiver YouTube channel. The channel uploaded 3 videos, which some thought might be coming from the inside of the house, UTV's house that is. The extent of the archiver's creepy stalking all came to a head on October 6th, when the archiver posted his magnum opus, the film Marlion, his stalking's collective works, along with the following message: "I've been with UTV for 255 threads. This is my last one. My parents have discovered my UTV works, and they have insisted I remove everything of the type from my computer and be done with it. They will be monitoring my activities now to be sure I cannot do it anymore. They have given me a day to remove everything, and this is my final message. I am sorry to UTV and hope he sees this and understands. 'Twas a sad day for imaginary love." Number 8. The West Roads Mall. Another perpetrator posted cryptic warnings on 4chan was the 2007 incident at West Roads Mall in Omaha, Nebraska, as 19-year-old Robert Hawkins gunned down 8 people and wounded 4 before turning the gun on himself. His note remarked that part of the allure was the fame that came along with it, even after his passing. His note read, "I just want to take a few pieces of shit with me. Just think though, I'm gonna be famous." Hawkins had been in therapy since he was 6 years old and was hospitalized for depression at 6. At 14, he made homicidal threats to his stepmother, which landed him in a mental health treatment center. According to one Reddit thread, on December 5th, 2007 at 12:38 p.m., he posted the following message: "Later today, I'm going to bring my rifle to Von Maur department store at the Westroads Mall, Omaha, Nebraska, to try to beat Cho's high score. I'm going out in style." Hawkins was referring to Suing Hoey Cho, the man who took 32 lives at Virginia Tech earlier that year. Other 4chan users chided Hawkins, telling him to do it and saying 4chan is behind you all the way. Again, was he reaching out for someone to tell him not to go through with it? We'll never know, beginning just a little over an hour after his 4chan post at 1:47 p.m. Number 7. Sally Acorn Doll. Blow-up dolls are creepy enough. So what if some dude made a life-size doll out of a human skeleton? No what's if needed. This actually happened, and it was chronicled on 4chan. The homemade doll was fashioned after Sonic the Hedgehog's Sally Acorn, though the OP said the bones weren't real, but wooden replicas. It's hard to tell if the framework is human or not. Whatever the case, it frightened many a Reddit user, with Frater Horos saying, "Oh dear God," and Dirty Joey saying, "People like this really bother me. It's too creepy." We agree with you all the way, Dirty Joey. Number 6. The Voice on the Sleep app. In 2014, Reddit user RedWantsBlue80 posted about an Android app she used to get a better sleep called Sleep as Android. The app records your sleeping noises, including coughing, talking, snoring, and tossing and turning. The user said that she never heard anything on the app recordings other than normal sleep noises. But that all changed on December 30th when a strange noise was heard on the recording at 2:04 in the morning. She was alone with her 3-year-old that night, just the two of them in her bed. At the appointed time, a loud clicking noise came across on the recording. The user's voice is heard, saying, "What are you doing?" and a deeper voice answers, "Nothing." The clicking sound amplifies as the deep voice says, "That's them."
What are you doing? Okay. Okay. What are you doing? Okay. Okay.
according to the user, although other commenters who listen to the recording say it sounds like "I'm dead" or "I'm Danny." Needless to say, Red Wants Blue 80 was super creeped out by this incident. In her post, she says, "I don't remember being awake that night. The only plausible explanation is that I answered my own sleep talking, but the voice doesn't even sound like me or something I could emulate. It definitely doesn't sound like a voice my preschooler could emulate either." She says the only thing that clicks in her room is a fan, but it's not loud enough to resonate at such a volume on her recording. 4 months later, the poster had changed the locks and improved her home security system. She said no more voices had been recorded, but she'd been awoken by the clicking noise 2 more times. The first time it occurred, she got up and approached her fan, and the sound started to fade away. The second time, she walked through her house and asked whatever was making the noise to please leave. "I felt like a complete ding-dong doing that," she said, "but I was up for trying about anything." An interesting Redditor took it upon himself to PM Red Wants Blue 80 to offer his professional opinion of the posted recording. "The other person in the recording definitely isn't talking to yourself, nor is it your son. The voice's pitch in the question, 'What are you doing?' is around 265 Hz. See foreign musical notes, and the answerer's voice seems to be around 95 Hz, F# 2, that is relatively low voice for even a man." He continues, "Unfortunately, the recording seems to have clipped a lot of the lower frequencies, which makes it seem like the man's voice is around 190 Hz, but there's a little hint of the 90 Hz tone left, and judging by the upper frequencies in some test recordings of my own, I'm a man. It definitely seems and sounds like a man to me, although no one seems to have arrived at a consensus as to who or what was making the clicking noise and responding to the user's sleep talking. Many have suggested that she was the victim of a home invasion. Thankfully, she's no longer residing at the home in question." Number 5. The guy who lived a lifetime in a moment. One poster, called "Tempt to Toss Soon," related a mysterious experience on a thread 5 years ago in which an assault knocked him unconscious and, in his unconsciousness, he lived a whole lifetime. In this second life, he met the perfect woman, whom he pursued for months before winning her heart and marrying her. They had a daughter together. In the OP's second life, his job paid well enough that his wife could stay at home with their growing family. They also had a son, and the OP loved them both. For a while, everything was going swimmingly, until the OP noticed that the perspective of a lamp in his home was going off. "I was transfixed," he wrote. "I couldn't look away from it. I stayed up all night staring at it. The next morning I didn't go to work. Something was just not right about that lamp." The lamp took over his life. He stopped eating and sleeping. His wife tried to talk to him, but after a while she left, taking her kids to her mother's. Then the OP realized the lamp and all the rest wasn't real. It expanded and consumed the OP's entire perspective. "All I could see was red," the OP wrote. "I heard voices, screams, all kinds of weird noises, and I became aware of pain. The first words I said were, 'I'm missing teeth,' and I opened my eyes. I was laying on my back on the sidewalk surrounded by people that I didn't know. Lots were freaking out. I was completely confused." This is when the OP was taken to the hospital in a cop car. After this, he suffered years of depression, impacted by this imaginary life he never lived, and the loving family he never had. Sad, weird, and very mysterious. Number 4. 4chan Mystery. Before Facebook Live was used to stream horrendous acts in real time, 4chan was an online source for criminals to broadcast their misdeeds. One of them was posted on the site by another Oregon State 4chaner. 33-year-old David Kalik was charged with taking his girlfriend's life in Washington, after which he posted photos of his victim and the scene, writing about his girlfriend, Amber Lynn Coplin, and about how he wanted police to take his life in a shootout. Instead, what actually unfolded was a peaceful surrender. Sergeant Nate Thompson said that Kalik approached him while he was on patrol and said, "I have a warrant for my arrest." Police found Coplin's remains in her bedroom, where Kalik had left her driver's license near her head. What was Kalik's motive for posting these photos on 4chan? Was he bragging or did he want to be caught? The mystery remains. Number 3. The shipping container. An Australia 4chan user wrote about a mysterious find in the middle of the outback. He worked for a company that sourced labor for rural areas, sending temps into the outback as farmhands. On one occasion, he said he was working for a large property, clearing bushland with 3 other guys. His boss, Jeremy, gave the workers the day off since it was swelteringly hot, and he told the OP about a watering hole 25 miles north. The other guys stayed behind, but the OP took Jeremy up on the offer to drive there. While they were driving, stabbing, Jeremy pointed out something strange to the OP. In the middle of nowhere, they spotted a large blue angular structure far off in the distance. Heading towards it, they found a big shipping container which, according to Jeremy, hadn't been there when he drove there 5 weeks prior. They decided to investigate. Attached to the shipping crate was a big diesel generator, and the crate was being monitored by CCTV cameras. Regardless, the building was on Jeremy's property and was trespassing, so they broke the padlock on the door with bolt cutters and entered. The crate was an office, fitted out with computer equipment, desks, rolling chairs, and plastic storage boxes. On the computers were what the OP described as endless lists of computer talk, picking up and receiving data, then recording it on several windows. The OP had no idea what was going on, but when he approached the boxes, he became sick to his stomach. The box was full of posters, DVDs, and photos, all of children. The OP leapt up and dragged Jeremy out of the place, explaining what he'd found. They raced back to the farm and called the police, who arrived an hour later. They led the police to the shipping container, but by the time they arrived, a fire had been set. Nothing was uncovered from the fire, but the OP remained shocked from the incident. "I'll never forget what I saw in those boxes," he wrote. Number 2. The Sad Tale of Fridge Bro. Here's one 4chan thread that will make your skin crawl. A poor anonymous user, who became known as Fridge Bro, uploaded photographic evidence on 4chan of his disgustingly dirty home one night, with the accompanying sad tale. Every night, browse 4chan on phone in bed. Drain flies attracted to light so they bounce off phone. Get fed up one night and sob into pillow. Will drain flies bounce off my head? Dining room table is completely covered in old dishware and beyond mummified food. Plastic milk container rots and explodes. The smell was the most unpleasant thing I've experienced. He goes on to tell of walking his dog outside and being approached by a concerned neighbor who asks why his windows are so grimy and why his Christmas decorations from 4 years ago are still up. His response? "I just forgot." The OP further claims that once he was sick, he threw up all over the toilet and still hasn't cleaned it. He dare not sit down on it now, instead hovering above it. He also claims that his old fridge wouldn't close and everything in it rotted. Instead of getting rid of it, he just used a mini fridge until a neighbor put an old one out on the curb. He uses that one now, though the old rotting fridge is still in his home. Without photos, many would likely believe he's spinning a tale, but the photos seem to prove he lives exactly as he's telling it. Garbage everywhere, vomit, flies, everything in a state of decay. How can he bear living in such a vile swampland? Live like this all my life, Fridge Bro says. Pretty much used to it. Well, some might laugh, some might gag, and some might shake their heads. You can't help but feel sorry for the mysterious Fridge Bro. The only time I talk to people is when my neighbors say hello, Fridge Bro claims. With no friends or family, he even predicts how it will all end for him. "I'm going to be found a rotten husk in my computer chair, surrounded by filth, when a government worker comes to see why I haven't picked up my NetBucks check for a month yet." Here's hoping Fridge Bro has since gotten some help and some friends. Before we get to number 1, my name is Chills and I hope you're enjoying the video so far. If you've ever been curious as to what I look like in real life, then follow me on Instagram at DylanIsChillinYT with underscores instead of spaces. I also have a Twitter at YT_chills where I post video updates. I'd really appreciate it if you followed me, and feel free to send me a DM if you have any questions or suggestions. If you'd like to see more of these videos in the future, then hit that subscribe button because we upload new countdowns every Tuesday and Saturday. Number 1. First toad in space. For whatever reason, one 4chaner decided to send a poor toad into space using what he describes as state-of-the-art aviation equipment. After putting the toad into a docile cryogenic state, he attaches the toad to what looks to be 8 green balloons and prepares him for launch. Lastly, he posts a photo of the toad being sent off on an adventure. Allah, the old man in Up. Why anyone would do this is beyond my reasoning. Thanks for checking out this video. Be sure to subscribe because we upload new countdowns every Tuesday and Saturday. Or if you're still not convinced, here are some of our other videos that I think you'd like. Enjoy!